Aaron Smith, happy
Thomas.
post-Thanksgiving Monday to you, sir.
That's that's the best possible way to describe it. What did you say?
Post-Thanksgiving Monday.
Monday.
Yeah. Otherwise
known
known as Cyber Monday, right?
That is correct. We're back for the PWBA podcast. We took a week off last week for the Thanksgiving holiday, so we hope all of you watching had a great time and obviously some great meals. Hopefully, you get to enjoy it with your family as much as you could in these crazy times. But yeah, excited to be back. Episode 49, and we got a great guest lined up as well.
Yes, 49 episodes, man. Where is all the time gone? We're gonna have our silver anniversary episode next week.
Crazy. The time has flown for sure, but it's been fun to learn about the players and the athletes on the PWBA Tour, getting to learn a little bit more about them, their backgrounds, their stories, their adventures on the lanes and off, of course. And we'll do that again today with Brandi Branka as she joins the show. So JT, is it time? Should we do it?
Let's do it. Let's bring her on.
All right, here we go.
Hello.
Hello. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Good.
How are you?
Hanging in there, finishing cleaning up the house after we had some family over for Thanksgiving. So
nice. That's always fun. Cleaning up the post. At least you waited a few days.
Took some time to relax and get some homework done. But yeah, back to the grind.
Yeah. Nice. So what have you been up to last few months?
Well, school recently started for my athletes at Maryville University. So that started back up, and grad school. I started last August with going to grad school at Maryville. So just been focusing on that and wedding planning whenever that may happen. So
Wow. That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
So how has the pandemic affected your wedding planning?
So we were supposed to get married this past October 3rd, and we postponed to February. But now, I don't know. I think we're going to make a decision this week on what we plan on doing with that. We may postpone again. So
yeah. I'm sure it's important to have all the people you want to have there, right? I mean, so that probably means some time after vaccinations and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. Our guest list is about 300 people. So it's pretty big. And, we want to have all of our family and friends there. And, right now our venue is currently shut down with in Illinois with everything going on. So, and I think they're only allowing like 100 people right now too. And we don't want to have to cut our guest list. So
that would be hard to do with 300 on there. Did you pick 300 for a reason? Is that like a magic number?
No, I think we're a little bit under 300, but I mean, we both come from big families. So that is a majority of our guest list. And I don't know, I can't bite the bullet to minimize anything. So. Gotcha.
Well, 300 is a perfect number.
Yes, it
is. Nicely done, JT. You mentioned you're still going for your graduate degree. What is that in?
I'm getting it in management and leadership with a concentration in marketing. So started it last August, and I will graduate next December. So I have about a year left.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What are you planning on doing once you graduate?
I don't know. I have wanted to get my master's ever since I graduated from McKendree back in 2013. I just never have bit the bullet to actually do it. And this last year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my master's. I'm intrigued with the business side of it because at McKendree, I got my undergrad in health and wellness. So my fiance works for a physical therapy company, and I hear a lot of business stuff from him. So it kind of intrigued me a little bit. And at Maryville, I have taken on other jobs like event planning when it comes to the golf classic for athletics and some 5K stuff. So I kind of like that side of things. So I just kind of wanted to see what else was out there.
Cool. That's very cool. How does that tie into your bowling relationships?
With
if at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I love my job and I'm going to be doing this for a while. But down the line, eventually when we start having a family and we're getting older, like, I don't know, I just kind of wanted to see what else is there to offer. So. Gotcha.
Well, it's always nice to have a backup plan.
Yeah. You just never know. So.
Yeah.
Now we've talked a little bit about Maryville. We talked about 300 guests at the wedding. You had something happen recently on the lanes that actually did not involve a 300, but involved a state record in Illinois on a massive 868 series, games of 290, 279, and 299 to beat the previous record of 865 held in the state of Illinois. That was, I believe, right before everything closed down for you too. Wow, that's a lot of striking. That's super cool to do. And talk us through that type of experience. That's, for most folks, getting to the 850, 860, 870 range is once in a lifetime type thing. So hopefully that's not the case for you, but tell us more about this and just, kind of that experience in general.
Yeah. So earlier in the week, that's when our governor from Illinois announced that there was going to be a shutdown. So Wednesday, I bowl in a women's 5-man team league. And I knew that was going to be our last night of league for, I don't know how long. And so actually the next day, that Thursday, Hammer was coming out with 2 new bowling balls, the Black Widow 2.0 and then the Hammer Web MB. Which that's the one I got drilled. So I called up my ball driller and I was like, hey, is there any way you can get this drilled before league? Because honestly, I don't know when I'd be able to throw it after that. So he was able to get it done. I wasn't sure what I was going to expect with the bowling ball just coming out of the box. And all of a sudden, here I am shooting 868 and I could not believe it.
Was there like a moment, were you thinking about what you were doing as it was happening, or, how did you keep your mind off of just the enormity of that number?
Honestly, I don't know if this is going to sound a little weird, but I was more nervous to shoot 300 than I was 800. I don't know. 800 didn't even really cross my mind. It was more of the 300 that I really got nervous about the second and third game. But I just having my team there, just being able to keep conversations going and not thinking about what was happening. I think that's kind of what helped distract me a little bit too. So,
well, what was your high set for 3 before this?
I want to say it was 816 or something like that. So big jump from.
Yeah. I mean, 816 is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
But 868's like ridiculous.
You know what? I don't think I ever imagined myself bowling that high of a series. So I was pretty shocked that it happened.
Well, you took out the pressure off in the first frame by not striking. So that, you don't have to worry about that part of it. But has there been any talk, we saw the scoreboard there, any talk about moving you into a different spot in the lineup? That 3 spot doesn't seem to be advantageous to your skills right now. So that's...
that league, I actually subbed in it last year and they asked me to come back because one of the girls actually ended up moving away. So they needed another bowler. And honestly, it doesn't matter where I am in the lineup. It doesn't make a difference for me. But I think those people have been bowling that league for however many years since it's been around. So they just wanted to keep it all the same. So I'm like, all right, just throw me in there wherever you want me and I'll do the best I can.
I have to ask, with that ball being fresh off the press, first 3 games, did you have any thought of retiring it at that point? Just say, you know what, this ball, it did its job, it was good, maybe we'll get another one. We're going to put this one away for a while.
You're not the only person that's asked me that, and I never thought about it until someone asked me that, and I was like, I actually don't know. I think I'll still throw it, but then again, I may order another one and put it away like you said. So I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it might make sense to definitely order up a case to have for future.
Yeah. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah, or 2. So what recognition did you get once you shot the set? I mean, obviously we'd mentioned it was a state record, and it's not like your state doesn't have a lot of bowlers.
Yeah.
So what what kind of recognition did you receive when you did it?
So after it happened, I immediately called my dad because he's always the first person I call after any sort of bowling accomplishment, and just told him, what happened, and he couldn't believe it. And so he actually reached out to my hometown paper, or Moments, where I grew up, and just let him know what happened. And they did an article for me, and the Daily, I think it's Southtown, which is the suburb of Chicago. They actually just wrote another article about me as well. So I had a couple of newspaper articles, but other than that, just random people coming up to me or just messaging me or congratulating me that I've never talked to before, which is pretty cool. So
that instant celebrity status, just like that. Now, looking, to the job responsibilities at Maryville University, I believe you've been the head coach since the start of the program, correct?
Yes, since 2015 was our first season.
So you've got to kind of get used to the ebb and flow of a season, the recruiting, all aspects of being a collegiate coach. And obviously the pandemic brings a whole new atmosphere to that. And your team actually had the ability to start the season. You bowled the Hammer Bearcat Open. The Saints went on and won that event. Your next event got canceled, and now it's a situation where you're not potentially bowling again until January. How's it been like for your student athletes, just trying to, kind of deal with all the stop, the go, and just kind of the uncertainty in this time?
I could definitely sense a little bit of frustration, especially with our season getting cut short last year in March when everything started happening. That was the first time that we made postseason for sectionals, and we were actually leaving the day of. And that's when we got the announcement that sectionals was getting postponed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. But they have adjusted the best that they can. I want to say they've done a great job. With classes, Maryville has done a hybrid. So they have the opportunity to do online classes or a little bit of mixture of both. I will say probably for my newbies, it's been a little bit more difficult just with them being first year students. They're living by themselves in their dorms. They're not allowed to have a roommate, and just not being able to experience that full college first year, I guess you could say. But they've done a great job with practices still been going on and workouts. And, with us coming off a win with the first tournament, I mean, I'm still amazed that it happened. I'm so excited for them, and just everything that they've been through up to that point. Like, they really came together as a team, and it was great to just watch everything happen that weekend.
How has it been? I know a lot of people in the academic space have had to make a lot of changes to their plans and protocols and whatnot. How much time have you had to spend on planning for those kinds of things for past and future events?
So a lot of the classes have actually been online, which has been helpful. And before this all happened with Maryville making this hybrid experience for the students, I told the girls, I said, if there is a class that is online and you feel comfortable taking it, please do, so you're not missing in-person classes and whatnot. So they feel comfortable doing that. But it's just adjusting and just making sure that they feel comfortable. And if we have to work around it and move things around, then I'll do that, because my girls know that academics always come first. So
kind of a change of topic here, but kind of going back to our first one. Can you read this? Can you read that one?
Oh yeah, I see that. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite go-to, or your favorite go-to first ball out of the bag when practicing. Ooh, let me think. That's a tough one. I'd probably have to say my Rodman Pearl. That's been a go-to for me. And then 300s, I believe I've had 3.
Yeah, and you almost had 3 in one set.
I know.
Do you bowl a lot of league on league conditions, or do you try to stay away from that and bowl more on sport conditions?
So Monday nights, I bowl in a doubles sport shot league with my fiance, and we actually travel to 3 different houses. So yeah, it's been fun. It's a doubles league. We bowl 4 games, head-to-head matches against the other teams in there. And that's about it that I get for sports shop for league. But then there's also times where I practice with the girls too. So I still am able to practice on those conditions as well. Gotcha.
Because I'm always surprised at the number of 300 games. It just seems like you would have like 20 or 30. But then a lot of times it's just because, good bowlers don't bowl on league conditions where it's easy to rack up 300 games.
Yeah. It's funny you say that. Last year when they asked me to sub, that was the first time I bowled on a true house shot condition, I guess I couldn't remember, high school maybe. And they were like, hey, do you mind subbing for us? I'm like, oh my God, I don't even remember how to bowl on a house shot pattern because I haven't done that in so long.
It's different. And I'm actually later this week, we're going to have a conversation with Tony Franklin about that very topic. Cause it's kind of an interesting one in my opinion. And we're going to get to this in a little bit on this show, but you tend to have a lot of success on tour on the tougher conditions, which is interesting. And then, you could go in bowl league and you shoot 868. So, but is that, we might as well talk about it now since I brought it up. But is that something you prefer, bowling on the more difficult, lane conditions?
I think so, because it's more about a grind than with those tournaments that, do have sports shot conditions and they maybe come off a little easier. I think I get more frustrated having to keep up with the scoring pace because sometimes I'll start to score watch and I'm like, oh my God, I'm shooting 220. And that's not enough. There's girls out there shooting 240. I'm like, all right, I need to step up my game here. Yeah. But with those harder patterns, I know that, if I just stay clean and I just make my spares, I have a better shot at making it. So
do you find that when you do bowl on the higher scoring conditions that putting that extra pressure on yourself actually hurts your performance? Or is it more just you have trouble keeping up with scores when they get high?
I think a little bit of both. I'm really hard on myself when it comes to that. So I think yes, and then yes and no. So I want to say yes to one and no to the other, but I think it's a combination of both.
Well, now that you have an 868 in your back pocket, do you think that might change a little bit? A little more comfortable striking?
Hopefully it'll make myself a little bit more relaxed. God, even at league, I get nervous. And my dad's like, Brandi, it's just league. It's just league. So.
Yeah. You've mentioned your dad a couple of times, and I know in some of the conversations we've had in the past that he's been a really big part of your development. Tell us a little bit about, his involvement in your upbringing and your development as a bowler.
Yeah. So my dad bowled a lot himself when he was younger. I mean, he bowled probably 6-7 days a week. So he was the one that really got me into the sport. My mom was more of the league kind of for fun, a couple drinks and whatnot. But my dad was more of the go-getter when it came to that stuff. So he was the one that got me into everything. I mean, he went to every one of my college events, every outside tournament that I bowled. I mean, any tournament he noticed, he signed me up for. I was at everything. And I know it kills me that I live 4 hours away and he's not able to come watch me as often. But whenever there's a couple of tour stops, he tries to make them out if they're close enough for him to go to. So
nice.
Yeah, that's very awesome. I was actually in preparation, kind of looking at one of the articles we did leading up to your TV appearance and the Sonoma County Open in 2017. You mentioned those things, just how supportive, and even getting you into junior gold for the first time, which you found some success at as well. So shout out to all the bowling dads out there.
Yeah.
But go ahead, JT.
No, go ahead. You had something.
You mentioned that your dad would travel to a lot of collegiate events as well. You had a great career at McKendree, and that's an interesting thing now that you're on the coaching side of it. Looking back, what were some of the biggest things that you as a player yourself kind of grew during your college years? And kind of looking back at it now, what are the big differences between collegiate bowling? Essentially 10 years apart, looking at the early 2010s versus now into 2020, almost 2021.
Yeah, so at the time when I was at McKendree back in 2008, Gary White was my my coach, and he broke down the game every little piece, and he taught us a lot on and off the lines. The difference is, I would say, is that back in the day, I honestly didn't know NCAA bowling really existed. Like, I knew of it, but I want to say it wasn't as popular as it is now. Because I strictly just looked at USBC NAIA schools, because that's what McKendree was back in the day, and it went to NCAA Division II, I think 2 years or a year after I graduated. So fast forwarding to now, I mean, the amount of schools NCAA wise that are, adopting bowling, it's crazy, and it's awesome to see that these girls and guys. Well, I take that back. Guys don't compete NCAA, but otherwise. These girls, they have so many different opportunities and that they can go to, and I think that's awesome.
How different is it now versus in terms of the number of opportunities versus when you were bowling collegiately?
I want to say I just think we had limited options, I guess, if that's the word for it. You had your couple top schools like Wichita, McKendree, Lindenwood at the time, Pikeville, and those were your 4 schools that you probably looked at the most, Robert Morris. But now, you take those NAIA schools, and now you have all these NCAA schools. These kids have every option there is out there. So
it is pretty awesome. And you mentioned the NAIA, you won a national title in 2011 for the Bearcats. In 2010, you made the ITC finals as well. So some success there. And I wanted to share this photo too. So.
Oh, God. Oh gosh,
that's not bad.
No,
doing the flamingo stance a little
I
bit.
know. And I'm sure my girls, if they see this, they're gonna be like, Brandi, you didn't post your shot, because I always yell at them for not posting their
Just tell them the ball's already at the pin, right? Yeah, that's not bad. It's I've got another photo, Aaron.
Oh God.
Okay.
I pulled up, but it's not it's not a Wonder Woman jersey. But this is a Wonder Woman jersey.
Yes.
You excited about the Wonder Woman 1984?
I am. I never really got into superheroes or anything like that until the first jersey I got made was the Wonder Woman jersey, and I'm like, all right, now I'm into this stuff.
Yeah. And Disney just announced they're putting it out on Christmas Day.
Yeah. So it looks like I'll have something to watch on Christmas Day.
Another present to open. Yeah, for sure. That was an awesome jersey.
Yes.
That's got to be in our all-time top 5, if not the best jersey I've seen on TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Wouldn't you agree, Aaron?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I enjoy when folks take the opportunity to show some personality, and Wonder Woman was the perfect representation there for that pattern you had to bowl on that TV.
Oh my God!
You needed superhuman abilities to figure that out, and of course, we're referring to the Cubica AMF PWBA Sonoma County Open in 2017. The finals were in Baton Rouge, but just an absolutely brutal condition. I believe you and Rocio were 1-2, and I believe you both averaged 205 for the week. So knowing how good the players are on tour, you don't see many events where the top score is 205 for the entire week. Right. Someone figures out something along the way. So, and, we talked about the shot making ability, liking to bowl on tougher stuff. So let's go back to that week. I know there was a lot of excitement. I know you earned the spot on TV in an exciting way as well. But what were some of your favorite takeaways from that event?
Oh boy. I think one of my favorite takeaways was that actually my roommate from college flew out for that tournament, and she was there the whole time watching me because she has some family out there, and she ended up working out there as well. So she's like, hey, I see you have a tournament. I'm going to come and watch. I'm like, oh, awesome. So she got to watch me make my first television show. So that was really special to have someone there watching the whole time.
That's awesome. Was she just there for the tournament part of the week, or was she able to join you for the TV show as well?
She was just there for the tournament part of the week.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I guess I should blame her for me not winning the TV show because she wasn't there.
That's right. She should have shown up. Now, what was the experience like bowling on TV?
You know, I was nervous, but it was nice having family and friends in the stands being there and supporting me. Like my aunt flew out for the event. Heather Durico, Amanda Green, and Katie Sutphin were all there. So, and we all roomed together on tour. So it was nice that they stayed after the Queens and watched that TV show. So just knowing that they were there in that background kind of just like helped my nerves calm down just a little bit more.
Yeah. And you'd had experience, with Amanda winning a title in the past. So what was that? I mean, did you have it built up in your mind that it was something to win the title, or were you just trying to go into that show with, hey, whatever happens, try to enjoy it?
A little bit of both. Obviously, I wanted to win because that was the goal. But at the same time, I mean, those opportunities don't come around a lot. So when they do, I mean, I got to take advantage of it. And it was awesome. It was everything I could have ever wanted. Obviously, I wish I would have won. But at the same time, finishing second on that pattern, I mean, I'll take that. So.
Have you been happy with your PWBA career thus far, or are there things you still are hoping to have accomplished already or want to accomplish in the future?
Yeah, I've been happy with how I've performed, especially with, I think it was last year, the year before. I didn't bowl as many events, but those events I did bowl in, I bowled well. So I want to say yes, but I'm still gunning for that title. So it's gonna happen, hopefully, or I will say it will happen. Hopefully. Yeah, it will happen.
Yeah. Power of positive thinking. What do you feel like has been, some of the things that have held you back from being able to win on tour so far?
I don't know. Maybe my nerves. I get nervous a lot. And like I said earlier, I was more nervous to shoot 300 than I was 800. And it's on a house pattern. And these patterns we bowl on tour are 10 times harder. So I think it's just my nerves, and I work with Dennis Knepper, who is the men's coach at McKendree, and he's kind of been helping me with that, just doing some like head-to-head matches and trying to figure out different ways to help me feel more comfortable and maybe switch things up in my routine. But it'll happen. I just need to calm down just a little bit.
Yeah. How does that manifest itself? And are there like specific moments where you find where you have more trouble controlling your anxiety or your nerves than others?
Maybe it goes back to the scoring paces, I want to say, and just the score watching, because I know I catch myself doing that a lot. Something that I started doing 2 years ago when I almost made the Queens show out in Reno, I made a notebook and I kind of kept track of game to game scenarios and what I needed to work on and what, worked well for me and what didn't. So I think that helped me a lot because it kind of kept my mind off of other things going on and I wasn't as distracted. So that's something that I'm going to do this year when I'm out on tour, is just keep that notebook with me and kind of look back and like, okay, this is where I struggled. This is where I need to work on. So I'm looking forward to bringing that back into play.
Nice.
And that was something I was going to bring up in lieu of that conversation. Looking back at that event, you had lost your opening match in the bracket, but then rattled off 6 consecutive wins in the elimination bracket before falling to Sydney Brummett in the round of 8 there. So 7th place finish. Definitely got through some tough opponents there along the way too. And I think that event and that portion of it at least kind of gives you the ability to kind of just focus on the task at hand instead of kind of worrying about what's going on around you, knowing that you could lose with 750, you could win with 550. That kind of happens there just over time. At the Queens, it's just a nature of the beast, if you will. But yeah, we've had quite a few folks talk about, note taking and kind of helping them through that process. So is that something you brought to your players at Maryville as well?
Yeah, I have in the past. This year, I didn't really bring it out to them too much, just with everything going on. And I know that's something that I'm going to bring out to them in the past. It's something that I tell them at Junior Gold is to definitely bring a notebook with them because, especially when it comes to those practice sessions, you don't know what the patterns are. So just keeping key notes of what worked well, what bowling balls looked pretty good on those patterns. I tell them to do that for tournaments, but something at practices I haven't really engraved into them, mostly more at tournaments. So.
Excellent. You did mention looking ahead to the 2021 season. Obviously, the schedule's out, 20 events to look forward to. I believe the Maryville tournament is the weekend of the Kickoff Classic. Is that correct?
It is. Yep. It's towards the end of the Classic. I want to say it is.
So not planning on bowling that one?
No, I don't think so, because the kids come back that weekend before, and with everything going on, we have to get tested to be able to come back on campus and whatnot. So that's the event I'll miss out on. So I don't think I'll be bowling until the beginning of May, I want to say. The 2 events before the Queens, or the Queens will be my first one that I'll start. So. And then
do you plan on bowling the whole season, or maybe miss the one at the end, the Fall Classic?
The Fall Classic, yeah, definitely will be up in the air, because depending on what the college season looks like, we usually always have a tournament that weekend. But my goal is to make at least half of them. So I have my list on where I want to go. I definitely want to hit the majors, and a lot of close tournaments nearby where I can drive to. Just because I don't know. Well, one of the things, I don't know when we're going to get married, if we don't get married in February. So I'm slim pickings with dates with that. So
yeah, don't plan it around the bowling. Definitely don't mess up the bowling with the wedding. Now, do you typically bowl a partial schedule anyway, correct?
On tour? Is that what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't bowled really full time since maybe 2017, 18. Because before then, I bowled every event.
Yeah.
But now I think it's just coming a little tougher. I don't want to say becoming adult kind of stinks when you have a bunch of bills and everything to pay for. So just kind of limiting and kind of picking and choosing what I can afford to go to and what I can't do. That's the part where I'm at right now. So, and especially with the wedding and whatnot, but I'm hoping to at least make half of them this upcoming season. So.
Yeah, a lot of players, I find that, like, for example, Ryan Simonelli and Josh Blanchard, they just, retired from the tour, and the first regional they came back and bowled, they won. So it seems like, when you get a real job and you're not relying on, the tour to make money, it seems like a lot of players find it a lot easier to be more competitive. Do you feel like that might be the case in your experience as well?
I want to say in the beginning it was. I put a lot of pressure on myself, just knowing that. Oh, to Neil.
I like that idea.
That's a good one.
we can live stream it, so you can have as many people there as you want
in the bowling alley and everything.
Yeah.
I want to say in the beginning, I did put a lot of pressure on myself because, it's a lot of money, especially when you go to certain events, like maybe out in California that are a little bit more expensive. It's like, okay, well, I need to make cut to make this much and I need to do this and that. But now I just kind of just relaxing, kind of having some fun, and whatever happens. So
yeah. I know a lot of players have that mentality of, I have to finish, X position or higher in order to make my money back for the week. And when you eliminate that and you just don't care anymore, it seems like, a lot of players just do a lot better. They just loosens up their swing.
Yeah, I agree. And a lot of these women on tour, this is their full-time job. So I get that. I get if you're not cashing, it's like, well, I'm losing money on that event. And sometimes they don't have another set of income coming in. So
Right. Yeah, and it's interesting because some of them are this is their primary source. Someone like a Danielle McEwen, and it doesn't seem to affect them all that much because they're just great.
Yeah.
But right. But on the other hand, there are players that maybe haven't reached that level yet where there is a lot of pressure associated with making the cut that week or finishing in the top 10 in order to make their money back. So anyway, it's good to see that you have at least a plan and a perspective around it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, JT, we are flying through our topic list here.
I know.
I don't know if I'm a fast talker or.
No, it's good because now we can ask all of our goofy questions.
Oh God.
That's true. But we usually save a few of those. Mentioned the preview article for your TV appearance. I mentioned you participated in quite a few sports growing up, quite a few in high school as well, basketball and volleyball, I believe. I think you didn't have a high school bowling team, though.
Correct.
But what was, you talked about the involvement with your dad. Was that really what ended up pushing you towards bowling full time compared to, pursuing basketball, pursuing volleyball, any other sports?
So actually, it was part of my dad, but my guidance counselor in high school was actually the one that was like, hey, there are schools that offer bowling and they offer scholarships. So you should look into that. So he actually gave me a list of schools, and me and my dad did some research, and we were like, okay, these are the top schools that we want to look at. And I was going to play basketball in college until this all came about, and thought, hey, let's give this a try and go on a couple visits. And gosh, my dad made a big binder portfolio that he sent out to schools, and yeah, it was crazy, but I'm glad that I ended up where I ended up and participated in this sport. So
do you still play any basketball? Any pickup basketball or any?
Oh boy, no.
Yeah, it's like one of those sports that it's like if someone were to ask me, I love playing basketball all the way through high school, and then even in college we used to play on the IM team, and it was a lot of fun. But like if somebody asked me if I wanted to go play basketball right now, I would just laugh. It would just be like, I don't want to be in the hospital for the next week, so no. Are we just going to play horse? Or are we going to actually run? And
oh gosh, and I'm probably so out of shape right now, it would be embarrassing. But my dad, he still helps out at my high school, where Bishop McNamara, where I went to high school, and he still does stats, and he drives the girls around on the bus and whatnot. So when I graduated college, I would sometimes go back and do open gyms and play a little pickup games with them. But now I don't.
What position did you play? And were you like a good long range shooter? Were you more of a box out rebounder type?
I was a guard, and I was actually, since you mentioned that, I did go to state for the 3-point shootout my junior and senior year. But my coach in high school would consider me like a scrappy player. Like I would be on the ground all the time. I'd had bruises, like wherever that ball was, we were going to get it, no matter what I had to do to get it. So defense was my main thing. I loved playing defense.
Wow, just like bowling, just like you like to grind it out, scratch it out. Yep, right.
Yeah. So
nice. But I mean, you must have been a good shooter if you were in the 3-point finals for your state.
I was, and this is going to sound really weird, but back in high school, our coach was against 3-pointers. Like we would not shoot them. It was like you shouldn't do it. So it's something that we never really practiced. And then all of a sudden, when we got into postseason for regionals and whatnot, there was a 3-point shootout, and I was like, yeah, I'll participate in it. And then all of a sudden, like I made it past the first round, the second round. I'm like, oh my God, what is happening right now?
Yeah. He well, first of all, hopefully he's changed his tune, because that's all the game is now, is 3-point shooting. But did he let you start shooting some threes once he realized that he had a secret weapon?
Sometimes he was still kind of against it. But I mean, if we did have that open opportunity, then we could do it. But that wasn't the main thing. So
yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Although there's a famous example of a man who he had no basketball knowledge, and he decided to coach his daughter's team, and he did some reading about basketball and realized that there was something called a full court press, and so the girls on the team didn't know anything about basketball either. So he just taught them how to shoot layups and how to press full court, and he would just bring in fresh players. And they ended up winning the state championship, which is an interesting story, but it kind of goes against the whole 3-point thing, which, I'm for the 3-point thing. It took me a while to come around, because when I was watching Steph Curry, I was like, man, he can't shoot from there. That's not okay. And then he would make like 8 out of 10 of them. And it's like, well, maybe it is okay.
That was, you know what, my coach's thing was defense wins championships, and he was big on defense. So.
Gotcha. And you obviously like playing defense, so you fit into the system.
Yeah, I loved it. I prefer defense over offense. So
who's your favorite? You Bulls fan?
I am. I'm a big Chicago sports fan.
Okay. So you enjoyed Last Dance?
Oh my God, that was amazing. And some of the stuff off that series, I never even knew what happened.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So
you're not quite as old as Aaron and I. So yeah. So for you, it was like learning new stuff. For us, it was like it was nostalgia.
Yeah. So after I watched it, I kind of went on Google and I was reading all this stuff, and I was like, wow, that really happened back in the day. So.
Yeah. There's some good stories. Some fun. I mean, I was a Laker fan, so I didn't exactly love when they beat the Lakers for that first championship.
Yeah.
But I came to appreciate Michael Jordan and the Bulls. And then, we ended up getting the coach. So
definitely.
yeah. Phil came and got a few championships in LA. So it all worked out. Happy ending.
You actually got to thank Chicago for that, because they pushed him out. So
yeah, exactly. They did. Yeah.
Now, Brandi,
go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, Brandi, you mentioned, kind of when you were getting around the time to start thinking about college, you mentioned the binder, which sounds super cool. Just to have a bowling binder like that with all the stuff. I'm sure some video in there. And obviously that's the thing you have to look at very closely right now. So for, some of the student athletes who are out there, what are the things that, a coach like you is looking for when someone sends in information, if they send in a resume, video, what are the things you're looking for, now as a coach that would say, hey, this is a player I'm interested in. I want to find out more. I want to get them to come to Maryville. What are those things you look for?
Yeah. So one of the big things is character. I look at that and I kind of observe how they, when I get the chance, observe how they, react in tournaments towards their teammates, their coaches, their parents, little things like that. I pay attention to those keynotes. Talent, they got to have some talent, obviously, but I want to develop those kids as well. So even if they may not be the most talented person out there, that's okay. We'll develop you into the player that you can be. And just, there was something else I was thinking of. Talent, character, and, grades are a big thing too. I look at academics because being a student athlete, we miss a lot of classes, miss a lot of school. So being able to have that time management skills, that's a big thing. So. Yeah,
do you ever compare their portfolios to the one your dad made for you and just say,
oh God. I think my dad went above and beyond on those portfolios. So, but since we're on the topic about recruiting, everything has changed now. We're not allowed to recruit off campus right now. We have to do everything via Zoom, videos online, looking at past tournament performances. Like, it's a completely different ballgame. So.
I'm not sure what this means. I'm just putting it up there just to see if you.
Oh, Ellie.
Okay.
So Ellie, she was one of my student athletes, just graduated this past year. And she was someone who we developed into a phenomenal player. She had little to no experience from high school to college, and she became one of our top girls in the program. So yeah, it's funny that she said that.
I was hoping you knew what that meant.
Yeah.
On the off chance that you did, I put it up there. Yeah. So besides basketball and bowling and getting married, what are some of your hobbies? Not that getting married is a hobby, but
something that I started taking up a little bit this summer was golf. That was one sport I never got into. And my fiance is a big golfer, and he was going to golf in college before he decided to end up going.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's good.
He's okay. He's okay.
Oh, when you're a pro at something, it's always hard to say that somebody's really good at something unless they're like that level, right?
Yeah. He's okay. He's pretty decent. But we have down the road from our house is a little golf course, a 3-par golf course, and he would take me out there and kind of practice. And wow, it's definitely frustrating not being able to get this sport right away mentally. But for our bridal shower, my dad actually bought me a set of golf clubs. So
cool.
Yeah, so now we started to go out golfing a little bit more. And, I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit, but I always ask a lot of questions. And it's funny, Andrew, my fiance, he's like, Brandi, this is the time where it's relaxing. It's supposed to be a relaxing time. And you're asking me all these questions. I'm like, I'm a newbie. I need to learn.
Wow, that's funny. Does he give you tips though? Like when you're standing over the ball, does he say, hey, the ball needs to be further back in your stance?
He does help me out a lot. And you know what, funny that we're talking about this, he's actually our assistant coach at Maryville. So me and him, we coach together, and he loves coaching. And I mean, if he could do that all the time, he would, but he has a full-time job, so he can only come to tournaments and whatnot. But he loves the coaching side of it. So I think maybe with me, it's a little bit different, because I get frustrated a lot, and sometimes I take it out on him, where if I'm not bowling well or if I'm not golfing well, I'm like, oh, this is your fault that I'm not.
Yeah, that's what my wife does too. She blames me when she plays bad. It's my fault somehow.
But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what are some of the things you work on with your golf game?
So my swing is something that I really try to focus on before the colder weather started coming up. I bend my elbow or bend my arm in my swing, and that's not something you're supposed to do. And I'm very stiff as well. And Andrew's like, you need to get some knee bend. You need to, relax and to do all this stuff. And so that's something that I'm definitely going to work on going into next year. And it's nice that we're able to do this together. That's not bowling related, because everything that we've done is bowling. I mean, we both went to McKendree and bowled together. We bowl leagues together. We coach together. So it's nice to do something that's not bowling related.
Yeah. That's awesome. Awesome. Golf is a lot of fun, but also very frustrating.
Yes.
We had Lindsay Boomershine on the last edition of the PWBA podcast, and she mentioned golf was something she was taking up as well. And, she talked about actually going out, getting lessons. And
oh, wow.
I asked her, how's that, compared to the first time getting Bill Straub to, work with him in a practice, golf versus bowling. But is that something, as a coach yourself, have you kind of seen about that, or is it just kind of been you and Andrew trying to work on your game to get to the next level?
Yeah, it's just something we do for fun. I mean, I don't think I'll ever take golfing. Well, I don't want to say seriously, but it's just a leisure activity that we can do together. So whatever he can teach me, that's going to be it.
Yeah, it took me a while to get to that point, because I'm sure you're very ambitious with everything that you do, and you want to be good at it. But I mean, you're already so good at bowling. You have that perspective at that. Like I'll never say I'm good at golf, because I got pretty good at bowling, and so I'll know I'll never be that good at it.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating, but at some point you have to just accept, hey, you started bowling when you were 3 years old, and you did it your whole life, so it's going to be pretty hard to ever be that good at something else again.
Yeah. And I think that was the hard part for me at first. Like when he would take me out and, we would practice some putting or whatnot. And I'm just like, I'm not getting the hang of this. Like, what is this? This is frustrating. And he's just like, Brandi, golf is something like bowling. It's going to take some time. Like you're going to have to go out and practice more and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, this is becoming too much. I think this is a leisure thing that I like to do for fun.
Well, it's good that you have that perspective so early on in your golf career.
Yeah.
Now, have you done top golf yet?
I have, and that's been fun. I'll never forget the first time Andrew took me to, and I was extremely frustrated because the swing, same thing. My swing was terrible. I could barely hit the ball, and he's hitting it way farther out there than I am. And I'm like, okay, why can't I do what you're doing? But
did he just was he tight-lipped about the secrets that he was able to allow him to do it?
Yeah, he's something else. So.
I predict someday you will beat him, and that will be a wonderful day in your life.
Yeah, I hope so. It's funny. The first time we went golfing, he kept the scorecard, and he's like, "Okay, I think we're gonna frame this and like put a picture of us in it, just being like my first golfing experience." And I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of sweet."
Yeah, and secretly it was because he beat you.
Yeah.
That's really why I wanted to put it up there. Well, you got to tell him, yeah, you can put that scorecard up, but the first time I beat you, I'm putting that one right next to it.
That's right. And I think it's something that like he can brag about, like, oh, I'm better at golf than you. Cause I'm always like, well, I'm better at bowling than you. So.
Nice. You can always hold that over his head.
Yeah.
Good. That's good. What's his high series for 3?
Oh gosh. Honestly, I don't even know if I think he shot 700, but I don't even know if he's ever shot 700 before. He's more of the, like my mom was, the more of the leisure type of bowler.
Gotcha.
We go out and we bowl nationals together. And then obviously we bowl league, but he's not competitive like I am. So
yeah, he's never bowled 868.
No. That he has not.
That's funny. That's funny. It's good that you guys have a healthy competition within the marriage. That's
although sometimes Monday Night League, I do get frustrated with him because I'm like, okay, I'm winning the points. Come on, you need to step up your game a little bit. Like, I don't like losing. So, and he goes, Brandi, it's just league. I go, yeah, but there's still money to win at the end of league. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. So we've talked about Wonder Woman. We've talked about, some of the other things that you like to watch. We always try to end the show with the binge watch recommendations. What are the Brandi Branka binge watch recommendations for the world?
Well, let's see. Grey's Anatomy is always my go-to.
It's been a popular one on the show. Yeah.
Yes. Grey's Anatomy, How to Get Away with Murder. I don't know if you guys ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah. And it's been a popular one on the show as well.
Actually, me and Andrew just started Schitt's Creek. I don't know if you've heard of that, but we started that, and Riverdale, high school little drama thing. Yeah. But those are like the Riverdale, Grey's Anatomy, and How to Get Away are kind of like my go-to where I can watch over and over again. Yeah.
Have you seen the whole of Grey's Anatomy? It's like 16 seasons or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I've watched it. I've watched it all.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah. So I think I binge watched that 2 years ago over Christmas break. Like I watched the whole entire thing, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe I just watched that many seasons.
That is a lot. I mean, yeah, you must not have slept.
I didn't. There would be times where I'd be up until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and Andrew's like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, just watching Grey's Anatomy.
And I got to finish it. I got to get up. Yeah. What about movies?
Oh, gosh. Movies. Anything with Kevin Hart. I'm a big Kevin Hart fan. He's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really watch too many movies. Like
Kevin Hart's a good bowler. I don't know if you knew this, but
really?
Yeah, he bowled the Chris Paul event a couple of times.
Oh, I did not.
Yeah, he's actually pretty good. He's probably about 190. Average.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is really good.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever shot 868, but he's pretty good.
Something that so once the pandemic, I guess, started happening, I guess back in March and April, where school started shutting down and we were working from home and we really couldn't leave anywhere. Every weekend, me and Andrew on Sundays would try to watch like a movie series. So like Divergent, that whole series we watched. There were a couple other ones that's off the top of my head, I can't remember. But we would spend a Sunday just watching like 3 or 4 movies in a row. Harry Potter, like we would just sit there and just watch it all. So
did you guys ever watch Lord of the Rings trilogy?
He has watched that. That is something that I have not watched yet. So I will definitely put on the list.
Okay. Like, yeah, my wife hates it. Yeah, I love it. It's like one of my favorite, and she won't watch with me. She's just like, why is this not over yet? Just get to the end already. Just throw the damn ring in the volcano.
Oh God,
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. What about Star Wars?
Star Wars is something I never got into.
Did you?
I don't know. I've never watched it, so maybe
Okay.
I just need to sit down and watch it to see if I actually really do like it or not.
Yeah, I would. I have some Star Wars stuff behind me and on my wall, and so, I would certainly recommend it if you ever needed like a guide to help you with how to watch, the order to watch in or anything. I could be of use.
Okay, yeah. I'll definitely put on a list for sure.
Okay,
let's kind of put it as just some stuff there, JT. We know.
There's quite a bit there, and if I turn the camera around, there's even more on the other wall behind me. But yeah, The Mandalorian, it's a great show on Disney Plus right now. I would recommend that. Yeah, they had a really awesome episode last night or Friday night. But we don't have to go into that because then we'd be on for another hour.
And I'd probably be sitting here like, okay, who is this? And
you would.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, you would. It would be so confusing.
I will say if you're heading into something like that, because my girlfriend is big into Star Wars, big into Lord of the Rings. We actually did the Lord of the Rings. You need someone to ask questions. So hopefully Andrew is well versed in that, or
yeah.
But it's important because I'm someone like, who is this guy? What did he do? Why is he relevant? And it's like, well, this thing happened, and 2 episodes ago that tied it into it, and so I will offer that as a guidance for those.
I'll give you an example. So my wife's a pretty big Star Wars fan, but not as big as me. So we were watching The Mandalorian, which she likes a lot, and they introduced a character on the show last night whose name is Ahsoka Tano, and she's only appeared in the animated series in Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars The Clone Wars. And so she was like, who the heck is this character? She's awesome, but I have no idea who this is. And I was like, this character is so awesome. You don't realize how awesome the fact that she's on this show has made this show. And so I was trying to explain it to her, and it took me longer to explain it to her than the whole episode to watch, right? But there are just so many things about Star Wars that are cool like that. Like once you start watching it, if you really want to get into it, which you should, you can just go so far down the rabbit hole, and there's so much stuff to watch. It would take a lot longer than Grey's Anatomy to catch up.
I think that's probably going to be one of those movie series where I actually have to pay attention to understand what is going on. Right. I can't be distracted by anything else.
Yeah, and there is a specific, now that there's so much out there, like the Marvel series, you have to watch it from Iron Man, beginning. Right? Yeah. Iron Man 1, you have to watch it, and you have to figure out the order to watch it in. Otherwise, you're like, who the heck is this guy? Who the heck? Who's that character? And you're supposed to know, and they do cool stuff. And if you don't know who they are, then it's not cool, and it just ruins the whole thing. So Star Wars has gotten to that point now. Except the problem with the Star Wars was they didn't plan out the rollout like they did with Marvel. Had the whole plan, they knew which movie was going to come out when. When Iron Man 1 came out, they had this whole plan for 20 years that they knew they were going to follow. Whereas Star Wars, they just started making stuff, and there was no rhyme or reason to it. And then they went backwards and told different stories, and then jumped forwards. And so it's when am I right now? That's the hard part about it. But if you do want to watch it, I can give you the correct order, so you won't be overly confused.
All right. I'll put it on my list, and if I need help, I'm going to reach out to you.
Okay, great. All right. Well, I think that covers all of our crazy questions, Aaron. Do you have any other crazy ones?
I do not have any crazy ones. We've already gone down the rabbit hole quite a bit with some Star Wars here. So Lord of the Rings, I like it all. It's all good stuff. But I think we just hit the hour mark as well. So I think with that, Brandi, we are good to let you go, but we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the PWBA podcast. We talked a little bit about the collegiate aspect and kind of looking ahead to the PWBA. We know you guys are kind of on lockdown in Illinois right now, but what are some of the things you're looking forward to start 2021?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably I continue working on my master's. I set a goal on what I wanted to achieve in this program. So just making sure I reach that goal, and just trying to figure out, I guess, what's going to happen with, the wedding and get everything ready tournament wise for the girls and figure out the rest of my plan for the PWBA this season, or this upcoming season. So those are my main priorities right now.
Well, good luck. Good luck with all of it.
Thank you.
Man, it's a crazy time to be trying to do all that stuff.
And I was talking to one of my other friends this morning who's also getting married, and I'm like, how did this even happen? Like, what are the odds of us going through this right now? And it's crazy to think, but I told Andrew, I said, we'll get married when we get married. It'll happen eventually. So. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, good luck. Good luck with all of it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the show. It's nice to see you guys, because I was trying to think of this morning. I don't think I've seen you guys since trials when I bowled it. So
yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah. Well, looking forward to seeing you out on tour, getting that first title.
Yeah.
We know it's coming.
Yeah. Hopefully. Cross fingers.
Yep. Yep. Well, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah. And, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Same to you guys, and stay safe and healthy, and we'll see you guys here in a couple months.
Yep.
All righty.
See you soon.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, Aaron Smith. Always happy when I get to talk Star Wars for a few minutes.
I noticed the pep in your step increased when we got to that. So,
it's a good thing we didn't start the show with that. It's been a 3-hour show.
That's true. I thought about making a mention of it with the Thanksgiving weekend, because with all the big story plots, I did not understand that character as well, because I'm not into it that deep. Like, I was just happy to find out Baby Yoda's real name. I won't say it here, but for those who haven't watched it yet,
who's going to call Baby Yoda Grogu? That's the question. Right. I think Baby Yoda is destined to be Baby Yoda forever.
I think it will be forever.
Yeah.
So. She's too damn cute. That's the thing.
Yes. Yes. But you enjoyed Ahsoka, right?
I did. Yes.
Yeah.
So I learned a little bit about her this weekend as well. So that was.
Your girlfriend filled you in on who she was and why she's so important.
Yeah, she was equally as excited as you were to see her character path come into this show. So
yeah,
I can understand the giddiness. Yes.
It's so awesome. So awesome. They just got to find a way to get her on the show more often. But unfortunately, I don't think they will. They're going to probably use her very sparingly, like the with my diet, the sparing use of spices on my food. But it makes them taste that much better when you get to have them, doesn't it?
Oh, JT. Well, speaking of awesome characters, you're going to have an awesome character Wednesday on Bowling Explained. Tony Franklin, one of a kind, going to be joining you to talk about lane play. We mentioned that a little bit earlier in the episode, 2 p.m. Eastern for that show, specifically looking at house shots, correct?
Yeah, correct. So Tony is a great bowler, 8-time regional champion, bowled on tour for a little while. But he is an epic league bowler. He is, I think, a 247, a high average league bowler, and just did it in 233 sport league. So he's average. So he's the real deal. But he's going to talk specifically about how to whack them in league. And it's kind of interesting. We had Brandi on today and talked about that topic as well. So, but there's a way to do it. I mean, I remember going back to my days growing up, 230 was about all you could do as far as league average is concerned. But then reactive came out, and then we learned how to use it. And I actually gave up bowling for a while and came back and realized, hey, you could average 250 now. And so Tony's going to tell you how to average 250.
Well, that's going to be pretty awesome. Looking forward to that. Thursday on Inside the OC. few additional characters joining us all the way from Wisconsin. Nick Heilman and Andy Mills, who won a team title in 2012 in Baton Rouge. That was kind of their introduction on the national scene. They've put together some very competitive teams over the years, and they are downright hilarious on social media. Andy likes to wear very bright pants, so I'm sure we'll talk about that as well. It'll be a good time. So looking forward to that. Thursday with Matt Cannizzaro, 2 p.m. Eastern as well. And then, JT, we made it. We made it. Final episode. Almost Star Wars worthy. Top 20 seasons.
It is. Top 20 seasons, number 1, coming up on Friday. I think we put it out in the email, but I don't know. Maybe we should just tell people to come back Friday to find out who it is, right?
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. With especially some of the ones we've had recently, just to think that there's another season out there that hasn't been talked about yet that beats some of the seasons we've had on our list recently. CDB's 2001, Lisa Wagner's 1988, Kelly's 2010. It's really amazing to think that there's a season out there that's still left to be talked about that was better than all of them.
Truly a great recap and history lesson of professional women's bowling. And you can find all those and more also on PWBA.com to kind of relive the series as well. But I believe that's going to do it for episode 49. So big thanks to Brandi Branka once again for joining us. As we mentioned, recently set the Illinois state record women's high 3-game series, 868. Great conversation with her. Definitely looking forward to seeing her back on tour in 2021. But for Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. Thanks again for joining us on the PWBA podcast. Have a great week, everybody. And Bowl TV, bowling lives here. Take care, folks.